Hi, welcome to my session. Today I'm going to talk about understanding organizational insights using Microsoft Graph Data Connect. So this is the agenda for today. I'll give some background around organizational insights. We will understand what is Microsoft Graph Data Connect. I'll show you the details of pricing, and then we have a cool demo to showcase how this information extracted from Microsoft Graph Data Connect can be used. I'll also give some implementation use cases that where we can utilize Microsoft Graph Data Connect. And I'll also show you some of the resources for further reading. So let's get started. So Microsoft Graph is the gateway to data and intelligence in Microsoft 365. As we all know, that it provides a unified programmability model that you can use to access the tremendous amount of information in Microsoft 365, Windows 10, enterprise mobility, security, and so on and so forth. Microsoft Graph gives us a unified REST API and a comprehensive developer experience to integrate with data intelligence exposed by the services in the Microsoft 365 suite. This is a great endpoint from where we can extract the information of Microsoft 365. However, consider that you have a task. You have a task to generate an insights on emails within an enterprise. So all the employees emails insights you need to develop. Say, for example, which group of employees are communicating with which other group of employees, what is the sentiment between the emails which are extended between different teams, and so on and so forth. Like there are multiple use cases in that where you want to analyze and get an insights on the emails. If you have to implement that as a solution, what you would need is you can make a Graph API call and extract the information which is needed about emails. But consider, there are millions of emails. Consider a large enterprise where there are, hundreds of employees and they have like millions of emails. So if you're making a call to Graph API to get this information, it's difficult because Microsoft Graph API has a throttling limit. So right now for emails, there is a throttling limit of 10,000 per hour. Okay, so if you're making these graph calls, it might take, if not days, at least hours to get all that information extracted, which is really a very tedious process if you're making continuous graph calls. So this throttling what Microsoft Graph API has, it is on multiple services. If it is an Azure service, or if it is an Active Directory service, if it is an Outlook service, or there are also throttling limits. There are per app across all tenants, per tenant for all apps, per app per tenant, and so on. There are different throttling limits. Also, there is a global limit of 2000 requests per second per app across all tenants. So you cannot make more than 2000 requests per second. So considering this, if you want to extract that information and generate insights, what is the option we have? So to address this business case, we have Microsoft Graph Data Connect. So if we go by the definition, what is Microsoft Graph Data Connect? So it is a secure, high throughput connector designed to copy the select Microsoft 365 productivity datasets into Azure tenant. So you can select the dataset and you can extract that and move it to a secure Azure store where you can extract and where you can run the insights, where you can get the insights on it You can run an Azure pipeline, and then once the data is available, you can generate insights out of it. So Microsoft Graph Data Connect, it enables the developers to copy the select 365 data sets. So if you just want emails, messages, events, just the chat history, one-on-one chats between in the teams, you can extract that specific data sets and utilize it for further analysis. So it is Microsoft Graph Data Connect. It allows you to, when you're using Microsoft Graph Data Connect, you're not gonna be subject to throttling. There will not be any throttling on the request when you're pulling the request. Okay. So advantage of using it is that you can extract large amount of data out of Microsoft 365 without hitting the throttling limit. So now, then you will ask me, what about the security? So it has multiple levels of security and consents. So when you want to extract data out of Microsoft 365, the request can be raised from your pipeline, from the Azure Data Factory pipeline, and it is consented by the global administrator, and global administrator can also review the columns for which the data is requested, and then they can approve it within the Office 365 admin center, as it will come as a privileged access request. So you can go, the administrator can go there and approve the request, and once that request is approved, only then that specific set of data is extracted. So currently Microsoft Data Connect can extract calendar views, events, groups, the inbox, the emails which are available in the inbox, the mail folders, the mailbox settings. You can also extract the direct reportees, the managers. You can also extract the channel details like one-on-one chat or the standard channel conversation which happens. So there are some limitations to it, but you can still extract that information. Also, I have in my Office 365 development career, I have seen that we are always struggling with understanding that which files are shared with which users. So now we have an option to also share those files to the external users as well. So we can extract that information periodically, that within our SharePoint, what all files are shared for external users, internal users, which group of users it is shared, and so on and so forth. So all that information can be extracted, and periodically you can run that query periodically and extract that information. So these are the advantages what Microsoft Graph Connect provides without hitting the throttling limit, which Microsoft Graph API, REST API calls has it. So basically, there are a couple of data sets. We need to talk about the pricing once it comes to when you're fetching the information. So you will ask me that what is the price? Okay, so Microsoft Data Connect, if you're fetching taking that information out from using Microsoft Data Connect, it is billed as on a pay-as-you-go basis. So whatever you extract, only that amount of only you will be billed for that. Okay, so the billing unit for that is multiples of 1,000 objects. Okay, so an object can be anything. It can be a mail, email. Okay, it can be one conversation, and it can be if you're extracting an email message, so it will be considered as one object. So if you're extracting, say, 10,000 objects, it will be charged into 10. So it is the rates are based on 1,000 objects. So if you extract, say, 1,001 objects, you will be charged for 2 units. If you are extracting 999 objects, you will be charged for only 1 unit. So it is a flat rate based on the count of per 1,000 objects. Okay. And the rate at which, this is the current March 2022 rate. So current rate is 0.375 per 1,000 objects. However, there are some data sets which are freely available. So like data sets like user, mailbox settings, manager, direct report. So these are the data sets which are available for free. So moving on. So what are the features? So we talked about what is Graph Data Connect. So what are the features it provides? So in the beauty of, or the best feature of Microsoft Graph Data Connect is that you can have a granular consent. What does that mean? Granular consent is if you want to extract information out of Microsoft 365, you can select the columns and only the global administrator can approve specific columns for which the data can be extracted. Okay. Not only that, if there are limits, time range, interval limits, you can also set that interval limits for what time limit or the what range of information you want to extract. Apart from that, you have the control of whether you want to extract the entire organization, or you can limit it to specific group. Say there is a marketing group, there is a sales group. So you can just limit to that particular single Office 365 group. The second feature is data governance. So it allows you to, this data governance will help you to reduce the compliance management, because you are executing, say you are executing using Azure Data Factory pipeline, then it will give you a detailed policies can be applied. And because you can apply detailed policies, you will have a less overhead of compliance management. So moving on, the third feature which I feel is that it has a scalable data access. But by that, what does it means is you can create an app and then start getting the data on a regular basis. Like it's repeatable. You can schedule the data extraction, and the data can be repeated. It can be, say, 5 minutes, 1 hour, monthly, yearly. You can set your own time frame to pull the data, and it has that scalable data access. And it's simple to even set that. You have an GUI where you can easily extract the data from you can set the data access. And the third and important part is discrete Azure service integration. So once you have that data, once you get that data out into Azure storage, you have multiple service, you can integrate with that data, you can integrate other data, and or extract, and you can integrate with different services to it. Say, for example, Azure Cognitive Services. You can browse through all the emails and understand the sentiment. You can get that data and say the messages which are the conversation which is happening over the channels. You can understand that what kind of conversations or what are the topics in which the conversation is happening. And also it is not a single user data. Yeah, it is moreover an organizational trend which you can find out, and based on that take decisions. So it is really giving you an option to understand how your organization behaves, or what is the trend within the organization. Moving on. So I'll show you a demo now. So what this demo is all about, I have created a Azure data pipeline. Let me show you that. Here it is. So in this Azure Data Factory, I have created a pipeline. So what this pipeline does is, it is pulling the data. It has already pulled the data. The execution is already done. And these are the sources. I was talking about, I explained you about, you can mention the column names. You can assign the column names here. You can specify what time interval you can put. You can also write the column names, and this is the source, this is the destination. So it is getting, this is the data will be stored into a storage account in the form of JSON files. And this is where you come to your Microsoft 365 Admin Center and enable the Microsoft Data Connect, and you specify that which group, who will be the approver of those requests. Okay, here you turn it on and you specify the approver group. And once the request is raised, once you execute the pipeline, you will get the request here. So you get a data request, and here it is mentioned about what kind of columns are requested, what is the time interval, and when it is approved. Since I've approved this request, it is read only, but you can either approve or revoke. So once you revoke the request, the pipeline will stop working. So this is done, and I will have a second detailed video to show you that how this pipeline can be created. But today what I'm going to show you is, I've created a .NET application, and this .NET application is what it does is, it is connecting to that storage where the files are actually copied to the Azure storage, and it is going to read through that. What I have extracted is, I have extracted all the emails within my organization. So I've extracted that, and it will show me that each individual is sending emails to whom, how many recipients are there for each individual is communicating with how many other users. Okay, so I've executed it, and this is the email metrics. Okay, so it is fetching the data which is already extracted from Microsoft 365. It is copied to this data is copied to the Azure store, and from there this information is extracted. So this is kind of organizational insights which can be developed using Microsoft Graph Data Connect. So see, these are the users within those emails, all those emails within my organization. So these are different users, and these are the users who are communicating within my organization. So how many users are they communicating with? Okay, if I'm getting an email, see, these are auto-generated emails which are coming to my organization. If these emails are coming, to how many users are the recipients of that email? So this really gives me an insight on not only understanding that how my organization is behaving, but also it will give me an understanding of, say, I have two teams. I have a sales team versus marketing team. So how is the communication between the teams are happening? If I have an HR team versus the engineering team, so how are they communicating between each other? So I can get that insights extracted out of this Microsoft 365 data. Okay, and this is once you extract it, I have created a .NET application, but since we have the data now in Azure, we have different mechanisms where you can extract a Power BI report out of it. You can connect it with any third-party applications, and then use that data to understand different trends within the organization. And it is not only just understanding the trends, but also you can go to the granular level, and it helps you to make decisions for your business. So coming back to the slide, let me give you some examples. I have extracted this from a video which was shared on the Microsoft community channel. So these are some of the use cases. In the next demos, I will also use my data and extract it into a Power BI report. But now these are some of the use cases which I feel that will give you an understanding of what and where, or this will give you a starting point to understand that how you can utilize the organizational data to make business decisions. So this is a first use case. I also talked about it. So this is the team communication trend. Say, for example, this is your sales team, this is your marketing team. How are these groups communicating between each other? Okay, you can extract the data only for these specific groups and understand that how is the communication between your organization is happening. Okay, the second use case is about email trends. So if the emails are sent, or if the emails are read, what is the time at which these emails are read? Okay, is it when you send an email, and usually if your organization is, most of the people are reading the emails during the time, say this is like 3 o'clock, at 3 o'clock this is the time. So this gives you an insight, specifically those emails which are very important but most of the times are ignored or sent to an auto rule. So you can send some of those emails during this time, so that is the time when people usually read those emails, some organizational updates, for example. Also, you will understand a trend that what is the time when most of the emails are sent within your organization. Okay, so here if you see, it starts at 1 to 5. So this is the time usually the emails are sent. Now this is an interesting use case. So this is an use case where the data which is extracted from that data, a trend is created just to understand what kind of emails attachments are sent. Okay, so here if you see on the left hand side, there are some images attached, there are some text attached, and audio mp3 files, and so on and so forth. But there is also an attachment method here where some files, if you see, it's almost 96%, 99.96% of files are attached. Whereas there is also an option to send it as a reference link. You just upload it somewhere and then send an email. So the organization is not using that, versus they are directly trying to attach the attachment in an email. So definitely this gives you the ideas to have some training within the organization, which will really help to minimize the mailbox sizes of the users. So these kind of trends are really helpful to understand and make business decisions. You might understand how your team is behaving, how the team is operating, and based on that you can take a decision, and it will help you to run the business efficiently. So this is another trend where it says some of the emails are not read. Okay, so this is the read status, whereas some of the emails, almost like 27% of the emails are not read. So this trend can help you to understand that some of your teams are really occupied or are not reading some of the emails. So you can then drill down into which are those emails which are not read, or some of the emails, what can be changed within those emails so that those emails are actually read. Okay, or what are those emails which are ignored, and what is the reason you can find out the reason why those emails are ignored, even if it is sent. So you can, instead of sending the emails, there might be a scope of just creating a Teams channel and then have that conversation within the Teams channel. Some of those updates which you're sending to your employees, the employees might not be reading those emails. Then you might need to find out another way where you can send an update and the employees might read it. So these were some of the use cases, and these are interesting use cases, and you might have your own business problems or business cases which can be really, which can Microsoft Data Connect can really help you to get data of your organizational behavior and will help you to take within your team the decisions within your team, within your business unit, or within your organization itself. So these are some of the resources which I have which I would recommend for further reading, because it has the details about what Microsoft Data Connect is, FAQs about the Microsoft Data Connect, and there is also a quick start sample about it. In my next video, I will show you the exact step that how I have created that Azure Data Factory pipeline and how the data is extracted, what steps are needed to actually extract the data from Office 365 and put it into an Azure store. So stay tuned for that. And if you have any queries or questions, do post those in the comments, and I'll make sure that those are answered. So this was all about Microsoft Data Connect. Thank you for joining my session.